Hello everyone, this is Precellence here, and whether you're new to Halo 5 Warzone or are returning to it after a few years, I'm going to try to inform you on what has changed and what's going to be recommended to use in the new Warzone meta of 2019. So before I begin on the recommendations, we should quickly take a glance back at the actual changes made to the weapons sandbox on Halo 5. So first off, the battle rifle has taken a huge nerf in many aspects. The rate of fire and rounds per second has taken a 50% reduction. The red reticle range was decreased by 17%, and the bullet spread and grouping has been made 50% tighter than the tuning BR, but that's still less than what it used to be. These changes have made the battle rifle a much weaker and less consistent weapon than what it used to be. No longer will the battle rifle outgun magnums at medium range in most fights consistently. This has made huge changes to the flow of Warzone on how it plays out. The next loadout weapon with big changes was the assault rifle. The outer and inner reticle effectiveness has been reduced. The rate of fire has been increased by 5%. The headshot damage multiplier has been doubled. And lastly, the base damage has been reduced by 23%. Basically, this means the assault rifle took a much needed nerf that does not automatically give it the means to outgun any weapon in close range. It allows precision weapons the chance to land all their shots and kill the assault rifle user before they can effectively get off all their shots. Again, huge changes to the flow of Warzone have been made here, but I think for the better. Next, we move on to the SMG. The SMG takes a headshot multiplier damage nerf by 27% and a base damage nerf by 23%. Similarly to the AR, the SMG will now not outgun precision weapons at close range anymore. This is greatly a positive change and has changed the flow of combat on Warzone yet again. Lastly, the DMR. The DMR has actually received a huge buff with its red reticle range. It now has a 24% further range than what it originally had at the expense of an 8% nerf on its rate of fire and another nerf on its close range magnetism. And I think these changes better fit the role of the DMR. It actually is a DMR, meaning that it is longer range weapon than the BR and the pistol, but it's not as effective in close range as a BR and pistol, and I think in the long run this has been a better change for Warzone. That basically sums up the huge loadout weapon changes that have been made to Halo 5, and I'm going to be dividing the rest of this video into 3 sections. Starting loadout weapons, mid-game loadout weapons, and late-game loadout weapons. So opening up with the starting loadout weapons, which I consider at levels 1 through 3, the Magnum has been virtually unchanged all this time and is going to be very dominant during the start due to the other weapon changes that I explained earlier. The default BR has now been lowered to REQ level 2, but is only going to be a solid backup weapon choice complementing the Magnum when you run out of ammo. The assault rifle has also been heavily nerfed as explained, and is not nearly as effective as it used to be on Warzone and should never be equipped on Warzone. At level 3 you will gain access to both the extended mags Magnum, which will have a much larger clip than the default Magnum, and you will also gain access to the tactical Magnum, which has longer range and a silencer on it. Both of these are going to outgun the changed BR in most fights, and I highly recommend that you have both of these equipped when you reach level 3. So overall, the BR and AR, they're shells of their former selves and are not nearly as effective as they used to be without attachments. And I highly recommend the Tactical Magnum and Extended Magnum as your go-tos for starting out the Warzone match. Moving on to the mid-game loadout weapons at levels 4 through 6, the SMG used to be everyone's go-to backup weapon starting at level 4, but has been severely changed and is not nearly recommended to have equipped at any time during the match. At level 5, you will gain access to 2 heavy hitters that should be heavily considered using. The first one is the Halo 2 Battle Rifle. Now the Halo 2 Battle Rifle has been unchanged in any way. It's basically the same as it used to be, and it was always kind of better than the default BR in general, and this just makes it so much better now, and the gun is going to become very crucial in many situations and is undoubtedly the most versatile weapon to have equipped at any time in the Warzone match. The next heavy hitter becomes at level 5 and is the DMR. The DMR has the 24% more range that I explained earlier, and that's insane to think about on Warzone. You're basically going to be able to put down damage from across the map at all times. And it does have the nerf to the rate of fire, but that doesn't matter if you have, let's say you have the Halo 2 BR equipped and the DMR equipped at the same time. You'll be using the Halo 2 BR in close range and mid-range and the DMR in long range. You'll also gain access at level 5 to the better default BR variants, such as the Laser Targeter BR, which gives it better aim assist, the Long Barrel BR, which gives it longer aim assist, and the Stabilization Jets, which give it 0 recoil. Now 343 has also made changes to the 2 scopes on the BR and the DMR. The long shot and sentinel scopes now have no recoil when zoomed in, so that could be pretty insane when you put that with the right attachment, but it's still, I wouldn't recommend it. You can mess with that, but it's still not my go-to. Now lastly, at level 6, you gain access to the sound dampener BR, which everyone knows was my personal favorite loadout weapon for, you know, the huge benefits with the silencer and the long shot, or the long barrel at the same time. It's still a very good BR, and sometimes I'd probably consider taking it over the tactical magnum in my opinion, even though some players wouldn't agree on that. But it's not nearly as effective as it used to be, and I wouldn't consider it, you know, the ultimate weapon to use. Overall, the SMG and default BR being nerfed so hard just makes it so that the Halo 2 BR and the DMR are my go-tos for mid-game Warzone. Now onto the late-game loadout weapons at levels 7 through 9. Late game loadout weapons are used far less frequently since the 2 points per kill was added to the mix and games end a lot quicker, so they aren't as detrimental as they used to be. Regardless, level 8 opens up so many options when it comes to the DMR. The laser targeter, the long barrel, and the stabilization jets will all be unlocked at level 8, and they all have their clear advantages at long ranges. But level 8 also unlocks the infamous bayonet attachment. And obviously the longer range one-hit melee can absolutely be essential in those late game fights. But the question stands, what weapon should you choose to put it on? The SMG bayonet combo used to be very deadly back in the day, as with the BR bayonet combo, but due to both those nerfs, I highly recommend the DMR bayonet combo. My reasoning for this is since the default DMR is already so good with the long shot scope, and is already so deadly at long range, it will now allow you to have a very deadly close range option on it. So if you pair this with a silenced medium range weapon like the tactical mag or the sound dampener BR, you will now cover close, mid range, and long range while having the silent options to capture bases and to be off the radar. The Halo 2 BR is also a great weapon for mid range combat to complement the bayonet DMR. So overall, I'd say I think having the bayonet DMR is essential. You got to have that, and then it's, you know, you got to choose between what your other weapon is that's covering your close and mid range fights. So between the tactical mag, the Halo 2 BR, and the sound dampener BR, I'd say those 4 are the options you should be looking at when it comes to late game. So I hope that helps everyone out, and that basically sums up the video. I know this was like a year late, but like we now got to see all the changes over the last year. I came back to Warzone just, you know, a few months ago, and we got to see all the changes after the meta's been, you know, done and set. So I just hope this helps people figure out what to use, and I will see you guys on my future videos.